Hi, my name is Tom Murphy, professional drifter from Ireland. I'm a judge, driver and instructor for 360 Motorsport Launch to Drift Days, owner of Crazy Loud Creations, and that's about it. Is that a better one now? Tom Murphy Showman. I used to be called other things as well, but I can't really say them on camera. I used to drive an S14, a JZ S14, but I decided to break it for parts, and I said I'd get out of drifting because I was going judging at the time. And then I said I'd buy myself a nice little car for practicing. It slowly evolved into a better car. It's getting better every time. Now I rent it out for other people, for them to learn how to drift in it. Pretty cool, to be honest. There's a bit of history on this car. Originally this car was belonging to Drift Games, and we acquired the car off of them. This car has been driven by Night Ride, Jimmy Oaks, a lot of big YouTubers had it. That's not what I got it for, but happily enough I'll take the history of it as well. It's a 325, it's mapped, it's got a good lock kit, and it's got brand new BC coilovers. All the good stuff you'd need for a good car. Everybody that sits into the car to learn how to drift in it, they say it's amazing to drive. For instance, the last day there was a guy using to drift it, and I put him into a standard car, and I said, go drive that car, see how it feels. He couldn't do one lap. This is a garage I built myself about a year ago. I built it all myself, I must say that, with a saw and a drill. That's pretty cool, to be honest, because I never ever had a shed. I'm drifting 10 years, never had a shed. It was always at other friends' sheds, or I had another friend's garage. I do have a good foundation of good friends around me, people that like to help me. I'd like to think that I'm a likeable person, lovable rogue, some people call me, but anyway, I do have a good community around me of people that would look after me, the likes of Kieran Mack, Paul Stryker, Yen Speed, Dara, all the boys, they all look after me, so I could leave my car at any one of their garages at any time, you know. The drift community is, without a shadow of doubt, probably the best thing ever. You could break down there at a track day, there's 10 people around you straight away. Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want this? It's just crazy, it's crazy stuff. I have driven in the championships. My car at the time, when I first started off, it was okay, but it would break down. We had an SR20 in it. It was 600 and something brake horsepower. They shouldn't be 600 and something horsepower. An SR20, 450 the max is perfect. I'll never forget the day we were above in the dyno, we were getting it dynoed, and the head gasket went in it. We were getting ready for the boat to go to BDC the next day, and I just turned around and I said, forget about it. And two of my buddies land up, pulled the head off it, put a head gasket on it, mapped it again, over to the BDC, and we done it. And we blew the head gasket in BDC as well. But when we got there then, and we blew the head gasket, there was take my car, take my car. I've been given more cars to drive in the championship, and I've done better in other people's cars than my own car. It's just crazy, it's unbelievable, the camaraderie above there, and everybody wants to help you. When I first started driving, I suppose I always loved cars. I can give you some shots if you want to drop them in there by racer cars I've had in the day. I had a red Toyota Corolla with a dragon up the side of it, half white, half red, crazy stuff. So it stems from that, being a boy racer, evolving from front wheel drive to rear wheel drive, getting in a lot of trouble with the rear wheel drives. It was a case of either lose the license or go drifting. There's actually a funny story. I had a rear wheel drive car, and there's a place outside in the Limerick Road, it's called Striker's Cross. We used to go up there and we used to drift up and down the road. Paul Stryker, Paul's Park, he had his car for sale up on the bridge. Now, he didn't have his car for sale, he just had it up there showing it off for the Rally of the Lakes. I'll say that you were just showing off the car. So I went up then and I said, will you sell the car to me? I never met him before. He said, no, I won't. And I had an S14 at the time. And he said, will you sell me your car? I said, no. So he let me drive his drift car. And from then on out, I said, this is a totally different game altogether. So I had to get into drifting then. So it's basically his fault, really, that I'm drifting. And then I fell in with the Shanahans. It was just Jack at the time, and they started to go to BDC, and I went over helping them. John said to me one day, he said, bring your own car, straight into the pro class in BDC. And I felt so comfortable in there. I was battling with Jack and stuff. It was just another level. I remember picking up this little compact BMW. He drove it one day in a practice, it went on fire. The two of us were inside in the car, went on fire. Nothing happened anyway, thank God. A couple of eyebrows missing and whatnot, like, but we took the car back to John's house that night, and I was saying to myself, we're never going to get this going again. We were at it till 4 o'clock in the morning. John power washed out the whole inside of the car. It was all foam from the fire. And he goes, you're driving that car tomorrow. I was like, John, like, give me a break, man, we nearly burnt alive in this car. And he goes, you're driving it tomorrow. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Went and drove it, had a couple of good runs in it, engine went in it. I was like, fuck it. Look, we had a good one. Went up to John. John was like, get into the truck. I said, what the fuck? He said, get into the truck. I said, where are we going? Back for Jack's car. Jack's 700 and something brake horsepower S14. He said, you're driving that. I was like, John, this is only a small championship here. Like, we don't have to do this. Like, down to the garage, put the car in the trailer, came up, first driving, sequential, wise fab. And I was just looking around me as if to say, like, what am I doing here? And I look over Jack and Connor and John, and they're just like, fucking drive the car, drive the car. But anyway, a need to cooler pipe popped off. I didn't win anything that day, but it was just that we go back to the drift community of someone, they all want to see you do well. Like, how I ended up judging. So I rang Kieran Hines to let him know that I had stripped the car and that I will do some rounds, but I won't do them all. Could I keep my number? So the number is kind of an infamous number, is 69. And I said, I really want to keep it. I said, can I keep it? And he said, yeah, you can. He said, you can keep it. He said. So we were having a conversation and he goes, do you ever think about judging? I said, I have, like, but you know, I never had the opportunity to do it. He said, well, if you're interested, he said, you can come and do some of the rounds with me. I said, okay, no problem. It's a difference, you know. I'd feel weird if I wasn't at the event. So I said it was an in for me to still be a part of it and be a part of it in a high level, like. So after the first couple of events, I got into it. You see it in a totally different light. Like what I thought I was doing in my car and what they want you to do, two different things. Two totally different things. If you go to briefing, you listen in briefing what they want you to do. I was the fella going to briefing, standing in the back, giving fellas dead arms and donkey punches and not listening to anything. Oh, we'll just go out and sit in the car and we'll just wreck it, like, you know? If you listen in briefing, and when you see who wasn't listening and who was listening when they go out on the track, it's night and day, like, really, to be honest. But yeah, people should definitely listen in briefing, and that's how I got into the judging side of it. I love telling people how they could do better. The new track opened, 360 Motorsport. I had been talking to Niall about it, getting a school together, and he wanted to do it too. Now, learn to drift is a harsh word. I'm going to teach you how to drift. But you could be there and say, I know how to drift already. That's fine. I'm going to teach you how to drive the track correctly. You know how to drive, you know how to drift. It's showing you how to do it correctly. That's how we got into it in the Learn to Drift days, bring your own car. A lot of people do drift schools, but you have to drive their car. So then you have to learn how to drive their car, then you have to go home and sit into your car and learn how to drive your car again. So the seat time that you get up there on a Learn to Drift day, crazy. I'd nearly prefer to do a Learn to Drift day in my own car than the practice day. The way we do it is we get them up and we get them to do figure of eights and stuff, car control and rings and stuff, and they're like, oh, I know how to do rings. Yes, you do. This is what you need to learn, how to warm up your tyres if you're going to do an event. You can't go out in cold tyres, you just make a fool of yourself. So you learn how to do the rings, you learn how to do the figure of eights, then you move on to the bottom of the track and you learn how to drift the first corner. Then we stop and we have a chat with them, you were there, and we get them how to drift the next corner. By the end of the day, what are they doing? They're drifting the whole track by learning the separate corners. And that's basically, and I love getting into the cars with people. They really do get it after a period of time. It's great that there is this foundation that they can get people to learn how to drift, like, in their own car. Because the more people that do it, the better it is. That's why I don't mind renting out this car. Like, as you can see, this car is shiny and all new parts, new kit, everything. I don't mind if they crash it or break it. I do mind if they crash it or break it within reason, like. But they're learning. If they're going off the track, they're learning. If they're hitting it off something, they're learning. Or if they're twin battling, they're learning. So I don't mind really, to be honest. So if anybody wants to rent the car, hit me up. Family fits into drifting by having a patient partner. Since this new track opened, I could safely say that I have been away most weekends because it's a Saturday and a Sunday. It's the Learn to Drift on a Saturday and it's the open practice day on the Sunday. We don't really like any of the Learn to Drift drivers coming straight there and doing the practice day, like, because you see yourself, like, that is close driving up there. If you come to the Learn to Drift days, it's nice and calm. So that's why we try and get them to come to the Launch Drift Day, so they don't go out on a Sunday and they're just bombarded with fellas chasing them, like myself. We'll go back to the family side of it. You do have to have a patient family. I'm newly a dad. It's actually my son's car. This car, yeah, we bought it as a joke. It's Joey's car. My parents, they were delighted that I started on a track and that I wasn't on the road anymore. Brothers and sisters, my sister absolutely loves it. My brother loves it. Well, he kind of loves it. I won't say he loves it. If he's watching this, like, he'll be like, I don't love it at all. So we'll say he loves it. He's young fellas, actually, my brother's young lads. They're all mad about soccer. So mad about soccer. He's got this one young fella, Shay. He's here every Sunday with me in the garage. That means a lot too, you know, to me. So when he gets older, hopefully, he will drive this car. When Joey gets older, my son, he will be in it at some stage. If he wants to, I'm not going to push him, but I can tell already that he's into the cars. So yeah, it's a good question, to be honest, because I used to be reckless, to be fair. Before I used to be reckless, didn't really care about much. It was all about drifting. There's a funny joke. I sold my mother's TV, her flat screen TV, I don't know how many years ago, to go drifting. No, I'm not a scumbag. The TV was old and I was going to get her a new TV, but at the time I sold the TV so we can pay for the boat to go drifting. Crazy scenario. That's why I always I incorporate the crazy lab creations. You have to have a crazy lifestyle to do this. But I would every day of the week, twice on Sunday, I'd try and convince someone to go drifting instead of drifting on the road. It's too dangerous now. Every car is 600 brake horsepower on the road now. My God, I never had 600 brake horsepower in a drift car in my life, and they have it on the road. I always thought it was always about power, to be fair, until I drove this. And I was not a man for BMWs, no way. It wouldn't have came into the garage. And then we got this one. The fun you'd have following, you've seen it above on the track. It's a giant killer. There's nothing better than taking this car out and dooring 600 brake horsepower cars up there and being good doing it and making it look good while you're doing it. We'll say, for instance, if I'm chasing Kieran above, Kieran is on and off the throttle, braking traction, getting traction. I am full throttle behind him all the time. If I slow down, I'm either going to T-bone him or spin out. So he's just feathering his throttle in his 600 brake horsepower car. I'm behind him in my 180 brake horsepower, just pinned, trying to stay with him. It's like Edward Scissorhands inside me, trying to, you've no idea. I'll just leave it at that. You come for a spin with me sometime. For me, it was the show. You know, I'm a show off. Always have, always will be. I'd put the car on its roof just to put on a show. I have got out and jumped on the roof of the car and ruined the roof of the car, but it's for me, it's all about the show. Over the years, I've had a lot of sponsors, and you have to do posts for them sponsors, you put up your social media posts and stuff like that. I was never good in school or anything like that. I was dyslexic, I couldn't read a book, I wouldn't be able to spell nothing, absolutely. And these are the things that nobody sees, you know. Then I start drifting and I get good sponsors, and you have to do a post for the sponsors. So I have to write out the post. And then I'm writing out the post, the next thing you just go blank, and you're like, oh my God, how do I spell this? How do I spell that? I've done a couple of them and they were disgraceful, you know, just the way you'd word it and stuff. So I had to get better at that. So I had to basically teach myself how to do reading and spelling right. So in a way, I got better at that side of things because of drifting. And no one sees that stuff. That's the stuff that I had to do when I was doing it. You know, I am looking forward to seeing all these people. As I said, IDC, the semi-pro class, just the level of driving coming up is crazy. And I would honestly say the reason it is because simulators. I have one inside as well. It takes a long time to get used to using the simulator, because if you think about it, you're flying down the track in your car, you can feel the pedal, we call it a butt dyno, you're sitting in the seat, you can feel how fast you're going. You're sitting inside there in your sitting room, and the car on the screen is fucking flying, and you're just oh, and then you crash, and you're oh, fuck this thing, you know, I'm not playing this anymore. If somebody buys a simulator, give it time. You will not get it overnight. It takes time. Get someone to set it up properly for you. There's even a dready hacker. He sets up all the sim stuff I have. Without him, I wouldn't have known how to do the simulator. After he set it up, I was oh yeah, this is what it feels like. Even down to the stupidest thing of the steering rotating on the simulator. When I first set into it, it was So like, you can't learn how to do that. Like, when we started drifting, we were in a field with an old Fiesta or something, pulling a handbrake and stuff. Like, that was our simulator when we started. You can learn the track that you're going to drive in the morning. 360 Motorsport is on it. Pick a car similar to what you were driving yourself and just muscle memory. Drive down here, oh, I pull the handbrake here, slide the car in. That's the platform they've been given to start. We never had that, but we're okay now, like we're still here. That's why they're so good. Even James Dean was on Gran Turismo when he first started. Like, that's what he said he used to use as a practice. Like. He's not old, but funnily enough, I was up in the lawnmower the last day to ride on lawnmower, and I had him sitting on my lap, but the first thing he did was grab the wheel, and I was just like, what the hell? What the hell? Like, his mother was watching us, and she was just like, no, not another one. We were talking here yesterday, and we were on about this being his car and blah, 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 and she did say, like, you know, I said, he'll be sitting in it, he'll be driving it. As soon as he's able to touch the pedals, if he wants, he'll be in it, no problem. I don't care. Just don't tell me, and don't put it up on Instagram. And I was just like, okay, no problem. So we'll have to send her on a holiday and bring him to the 360 Motorsport and live him off.